So, good day everyone. We are the group 8 and we will discuss module 8 and it is all about critical discourse analysis. So, under this we have the learning contents. We have critical discourse analysis and principles of critical discourse analysis. So, basically, I am the first reporter and I am going to discuss critical discourse analysis. So, what is critical discourse analysis? It is a branch of linguistics which aims to reveal the implicit ideological forces at work in a spoken or written text. It is a methodology that enables a vigorous assessment of what is meant when language is used to describe and explain. It is also concerned with how power is exercised through language. So we have the Faircloug's 3D model of critical discourse analysis. So the first dimension is the text, the second dimension is the discursive practice, and the last dimension is social practice. So first we have to discuss the first dimension, which is the text. So first we have to select a specific text that you'd like to analyze. So like for example, a text could have both written language and images. Second, we have to look for words and phrases that reveal the text attitude to its subject. Like for example, say you look at a piece of political journalism about the president. If the text describes the president as the goofball in the Oval Office, the attitude is sarcastic and critical. However, if the president is described as the leader of the free world, the attitude is respectful and even reverential. Third, we have to consider how the text includes or excludes readers from a community. So like for example, think about a news report about international immigrants coming to a country. The newscaster can create different types of community by referring to the immigrants as strangers. So last, we have to look for assumed interpretations that the text has already made. So like for example, an 18th century short story that begins the savages attacked the unarmed settlers at town contains implicit interpretations and biases about indigenous populations. So the next dimension is discursive practice. So under this, we have to think about the way your text has been produced. So like for example, think about the difference between an author writes a novel for money and who writes for their own pleasure. So the first author would want to tap into popular trends and of the day in order to profit, while the second author would be less concerned with pleasing the public. Next, we have to examine the form of the text and consider who has access to it. So like for example, consider the case of a CEO delivering a speech in person to their company. The fact that they're delivering a speech and not sending an open letter shows that openness and transparency are important to the CEO and the company culture. Next, we have to analyze quotations and borrowed language in your text. So, like for example, say that a contemporary writer opens a poem of or story with "It was the best of times, it was the worst of times." Quoting Charles Dickens at once shows that the author is well read and also grounds their writing in the English Victorian literary tradition. So the last dimension is the social practice. So under this, we have to examine ways in which texts reveal traditions within a culture. So like for example, if a political speaker says our forefathers smile upon us today, they are using patriarchal language. Next, we have to contrast similar texts to find differences between the social cultures. So like for example, consider two different magazine ads for trucks. In the first, the rug-looking man sits in a truck below the words "the vehicle for men." In the second, a family sits in a truck and the ad copy reads "a truck to hold everybody." So the first ad seems to rely on stereotypical ideas of the masculinity, while the second seems more exclusive. Next, we have to determine whether norms are held by a culture or a subculture. Like for example, imagine a politician whose slogan is "all energy should come from coal." Because of the extremity of this stance, you may suspect that the candidate represents a fringe party that doesn't share many of the mainstream party's views. Then the last is we have to consider ways in which cultural norms may exist internationally. So like for example, companies like Emirates Airlines and McDonald's have strong cultures and norms that exist internationally. So discourse can be considered as an active relation to reality by Fairclough 1992. Fairclough 2003 has delineated three characteristics of discourse which describe its operation within social life as part of the action. These are genres, ways of acting; discourses, ways of representing; and styles, ways of being. So, the three characteristics of discourse will discussed by the next reporter. So, in conclusion, the in conclusion, discourse relationship with power struggle process is three-dimension explanation. So, if one wants to reveal the social values attached with text, only its description is not enough, but the explanation and interpretation process can be utilized to unveil the sense. So, that's all. Thank you.